If you ever visit Mystic Seaport in Connecticut, you'll see an old, elegant, full-rigged ship quietly resting by the pier. She's called Joseph Conrad now, but when she was born in 1882, her name was Georg Stage, in Danish, Georg Stage I, and she was destined to change maritime history forever. This is her story, a story of courage, tragedy, rebirth, and an extraordinary journey that took her from Copenhagen to the farthest oceans of the world. In the late 19th century, the sea was both a dream and a danger for young men. In Denmark, boys barely 15 were being sent straight onto merchant ships, and far too many never came home. Then, in 1880, tragedy struck the family of shipowner Frederick Stage when his young son, Georg, died. Devastated, his parents decided that Georg's inheritance would serve a noble purpose, to build a ship that would protect and prepare other boys for the sea. That ship became the world's first sailing maritime school, Georg Stage, launched in 1882 at the famous Burmeister and Wain shipyard in Copenhagen. Behind the project stood one of Denmark's most influential businessmen, C.F. Tietgen, who believed in education, safety, and progress. His vision was simple, but revolutionary. Before young men faced the ocean, they should first learn to master it safely, under sail. And so began a new era. Every modern sail training ship, from the British Cutty Sark to the giant Russian Sedov and Krusenstern, can trace its roots back to this single Danish experiment. Being one of the smallest fully rigged ships with a hull length of just over 101 feet and a beam of 25 feet, the Georg Stage could take 80 cadets at a time. She wasn't built to last centuries. Pine decks, wooden rig, a practical workhorse. Yet, ironically, she became one of the oldest surviving sailing ships on Earth. For years, she sailed the Baltic and the North Sea, teaching thousands of young sailors not only the art of seamanship, but also discipline, teamwork, and courage. Many who began as cadets aboard her went on to become famous explorers, such as Einar Mikkelsen and G.C. Amdrup. But in 1905, the sea struck back. During a fireworks display in Copenhagen Harbor, the crew extinguished all lights for safety. In the dark, a Scottish steamer Ancona plowed straight into her side. The bunks below deck filled with seawater, and 22 young trainees, aged 14 to 17, drowned in their sleep. It was Denmark's greatest maritime training tragedy, until the disappearance of the school ship Copenhagen in 1928. But even that disaster couldn't sink the idea born with the Georg Stage. She was raised, repaired, and returned to sea within a year. By the 1930s, she was already considered an old relic. Steamships ruled the seas, and her role as a training vessel was taken over by a new ship, Georg Stage II, still in service today. But fate wasn't finished with the old ship. In 1934, an Australian adventurer and writer, Alan Villiers, bought her from the Danish Foundation. He believed that only by sailing under canvas could boys become real seamen. So the first thing he did was destroy her engine. Then he renamed her Joseph Conrad, after the great Polish-British author who had written so passionately about the sea. Villiers gathered a young international crew and set sail on an epic circumnavigation of the globe, from Ipswich to New York, Rio de Janeiro, Cape Town, through the East Indies, to Sydney, New Zealand, Tahiti, and around Cape Horn back to New York. It took 2 years, covered 57,000 miles, and nearly cost him his life more than once. But it also inspired thousands of readers through his books, Cruise of the Conrad, Storm Along, and Joey Goes to Sea. When the voyage ended in 1936, Villiers was bankrupt, but his ship was famous. The next chapter in her story came with a billionaire, George Huntington Hartford II, heir to one of the largest fortunes in America. He bought Joseph Conrad, fitted her with an engine again, and turned her into a luxury yacht. For a while, she carried Hartford and his glamorous guests between the United States and his private Paradise Island in the Bahamas, later famous as the island of Dr. No in the James Bond films. But by 1939, Hartford grew tired of the sea and donated the ship to the U.S. Navy. During World War II, the Joseph Conrad trained thousands of cadets for both the Navy and the merchant fleet. She became one of the few ships ever to be decorated for wartime service. When peace returned, the Joseph Conrad was worn out again. In 1947, she was given to the Mystic Seaport Museum in Connecticut. There she began yet another life, as a floating museum and dormitory ship for young sailors. For decades, American children came to her decks for summer sailing camps, sleeping in the same bunks as those Danish cadets a century before. She was restored in the 1980s, but as the years passed, newer attractions like the whaling ship Charles W. Morgan took center stage. Today, the Joseph Conrad still floats at Mystic, but quietly. The museum no longer sees her as part of its long-term plan. Now, after more than 140 years, a group of Danes has founded an association to bring the ship back to Copenhagen, to the city where she was born, and to restore her once again to seaworthy condition. Their goal is to let her sail under the Danish flag once more, as both a historic monument and an active school ship, a living symbol of the idea that began with young Georg Stage I's legacy in 1882. If they succeed, Joseph Conrad will not only be among the 10 oldest active ships in the world, but also the first to return home after teaching the world how to sail. From tragedy to triumph, from cadet ship to luxury yacht, from war service to museum, Joseph Conrad has lived more lives than most ships ever dream of. She taught generations of sailors how to survive at sea. She carried the dreams of a writer, a millionaire, and countless boys who became men under her sails.